Hello. This is just a fun little video to look at some Walkmans I've had kicking around. I just picked up a couple more, and by just, I mean a few months ago. And I realized I haven't really looked at any of these. So let's look at the first one. This has been sitting around for a while. This is a Toshiba KT-AS1. And it's got a little plastic clip to hold it on a belt and everything. How do I pop this out? Let me reposition the camera. This is awkward. Okay, that's better. How does this come off here? Just clip along the side? Oh, I see. What? Oh, it slides out like that. Okay. That was awkward. What's cool about these is this sold with a tuner that sat in here like a cassette. And you'd tune through the window here. I believe the adjustment came out to here, this little opening. If I find a picture, I'll show it on the screen now. The features, flip that around. You've got 2 headphone outputs. Can support playback on a metal tape. Dolby noise reduction. What is that? Auto reverse. Okay. Let's get some better light on here. Oh, it's too much. There. Play radio on. Yeah. So you'd hit this, and then I guess there's a way to tell this mechanism that the radio cassette is in there. You know, don't waste power with the motor. Actually, I wonder how does it do that? I have no idea. There's probably a switch somewhere that it touches. Looked at that side, and that's just DC in, 3 volts, negative in the middle. Oh, Toshiba, I thought Sony was the only one that did that. Let's pop some batteries in and see what this looks like. Oh, that has had a problem in the past. It also looks like it may have been cleaned. Ooh, that sounds unhealthy. Let's see. Oh, all the buttons okay, I guess we just throw a tape in and see what happens. Literally nothing. What? Manual. It made a sound for like a second. And is now stone dead. Let me see, maybe these batteries are bad. Okay, I grabbed some better batteries. These could be dead, I reuse them a lot. Oh, light's turning on. See that? Let's plug it in to the speakers. It's just no motor movement. And not only is there no motor movement, I don't hear the motor. Okay, well, for now, I'm going to put this in the dead pile. Let's take the tape out and the batteries out. Up next is this Sony Walkman. This looks to be, I want to say late 80s. So it's newer than that Toshiba. So I'll need more light on it. The WM-F43. Now this one does not have 2-directional play. but it's also not cheap enough to only have fast forward on it. So it's got 2 reels. AM FM, flip this around. AM FM, playback, normal or type 2, type 4. Pretty standard. Does have the built-in radio. So let's pop some batteries into it. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Doesn't look like they've leaked. That just sounds like a belt. It's noisy though. Okay. Put that one aside. So those 2 I've had sitting for a while. This is the one that kind of got me excited. This one and the next one to do this video. Here's a Panasonic, and I'm guessing this is from the, I want to say early 2000s, but I feel like that was pretty late for Walkmans. This whole outer case is aluminum. It's all metal. It looks very cool. Now, if I remember right, you have to open this. So you do that to open the cassette housing, and the battery goes in here. So you push that and lift it like that, and the battery goes in there. And then you lock and tape. It's flashing lock. Oh, hold. So go main. Sub. Battery check. It's got a little, I don't know how well it's showing up in the camera there, a little indicator showing all the pieces of the pie. Reception, normal, city. Put on city. Let's just plug the audio. I'm assuming this connector, it's the kind of connector meant for those headphones that had the inline remote, possibly with the display. But I believe a normal 3.5 will just fit in there. So, radio on. Band. Do I press and hold to scan?
Thursday, November 18th.
We now join a Zoom press conference with legendary football coach Will Belichick already in progress.
What's the key to getting the win this week?
Scoring more points than they do.
What about
Leave it all out in the field, take it one game at a time. I've answered all these questions before. It's Saturday.
Well, that's annoying, but it works. So, big question is, does the cassette work? So, take our sacrificial test cassette, and I think, does it sit up like this? It does. It's got a little hook there and here to hold it in. And what? That feels awkward. All right. Seems to work. I mean, that is playing like crap, but it could be. The reason this is my test tape is this is a pre-recorded cassette that someone went and put Depeche Mode on. So let's try, now that I know it won't eat it, the YouTube tape. Now let's use, so I'm guessing this needs to sit that way. Would it be, or the label facing? Oh, I don't know. Actually, does this have Dolby on it? Could be, and it could be one of those things that it's all the buttons on the remote that do it, because there's really not a lot on here. Oh, so it's got track skip. Oh, I like this. The sound isn't all that impressive. It could just need a head cleaning and demagnetizing and all that stuff. Because this doesn't have a record function, there's no way to demagnetize it yourself. So you'd need one. It doesn't sound bad. Like, honestly, I'm going to look this up to see if there's more controls made in Taiwan. Because I feel like the remote will give you more control over things. So sub, does that mean I can't? Yeah, so main means the controls here work. Sub means the remote work. And then hold disables everything. Set battery check. It's always time for a battery check. Yeah, it's telling me lock. A little key there. Well, that's fun. This thing's... I was really hoping that this would work. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of clean up the inside a little bit so it can put its best foot forward, but I'm excited about this one. It feels... Oh. Now it's pushing open. Am I closing onto something? Weird, it wasn't doing that before. Okay, now we get into the last one, which is another Panasonic. Oh, this case is sticky. I actually cleaned this case, sort of, and it's still gross and sticky. This is probably from around the same era as that Toshiba. Look at this. This is a does everything. I don't know if I'd call it, I wouldn't call it a Walkman. The Sonys are Walkmans. These are all personal portable cassette recorders. Let's take it out of its little carrying case here. Like that. Put that sticky, gross thing off to the side. There. Look at that. Look at all the features. So are these are indicators, I think? Maybe? Oh, no, these are for the switches there. So there's 4 switches here, and it's got it printed here. So you have pause, on and off, tone, high, low, mode, BP, what? Oh, okay. So BP, I think, is that beat. Pulse, is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's when you're recording a tape and the bias frequency and the AM intermediate frequency screw up, so you can change it to be able to record off the radio, because this records. And then selector, tape radio. Ooh, it's got stereo microphone built in. Oh, it's got a rod antenna. Bizarre. You've got, oh, separate right and left volume. I never like that. FM stereo, battery and record indicators, headphone jack, or stereo external speakers. So this has an amplifier strong enough to power speakers. So you could get those little non-powered speakers that you used to be able to buy and hook this up and have a tiny, tiny, tiny boombox. It's got a counter. That's cool. Nothing on the butt. Here we've got DC in 6 volts, negative in the middle again. Jeez, maybe that's more common than I seem to remember. Tape selector, metal and normal. That can't be for recording. That's got to only be for playback. Has an external stereo mic input, which is pretty cool. Band, AM, FM. Okay, let's put some batteries in this. Oh, Advanced Electronics. This is the high-end electronics store here in Winnipeg. they're still around. Priority restoration. I don't even know what that is. Does that mean it was restored faster than it normally would be? Or does that mean that they just got like everything restored really well? Alright, this takes 4, and since right now I only have the original 2 batteries and these 2, I'm just going to mix and match batteries, which you're not supposed to do. Don't do what I'm doing. If you want your batteries to leak, this is how you get them to leak. And I'm not going to use the little pull thing that you're supposed to... Oh, damn it. Okay, we're going to start again here. What you do is you put this little pull string on the bottom. So when you put the batteries in, the batteries sit on top of it. And when you want to remove the batteries, you just give the little pull string a pull, and the batteries come out, instead of doing what I did and violently smacking the back of it. But doing this with a camera sitting in front of you is a pain in the butt. There. See? It's the perfect length. And it just sits like that. So let's plug this. We use the phone's output because this is amplified. And go radio. This appears to be... Oh, this isn't even doing anything. Do we need a tape in there? No, this is completely jammed up. This is like stone dead. Let me try an external adapter. 1 second. Okay, rather than try and find a 6-volt negative in the middle, get that camera here, adapter with a very large barrel, I just grabbed a spare barrel connector, hooked it up to my bench supply, and let's see if that does anything. Oh, that's unplugged. Oh, I got a light. FM bat. Okay. Wow. That's a good sign. It was a good sign. Jesus. Let's get that to sit properly.
Today's best music.
Freedom was a highway.
Sunset.
Optimists, how might the metaverse
The biggest mistake I think that employers make is just...
So that's working. I think the battery compartment just needs to be cleaned, or who knows. Maybe those 2 batteries I first used are in fact dead. I've been too lazy to check them. That is a really obnoxious place to put that connector. So why is this jammed up? Stop eject works. But all of these are locked up. It's like it's stuck in a position that stop is not changing. Yeah, it's like totally jammed up. I'm going to take a look inside here and just see if there's anything stuck. Alright, this is a bizarre removal. I started taking screws out on the back here. Had to remove that historical service tag. And it looks like I didn't actually need to, because this front comes off. The eject, the tray here has a hook that hooks onto this metal piece here. And that is right there. So as long as you unhook that, it just comes off. So it looks like I didn't need to take all the back screws out. I believe I can pop this plate off and then I can see what's going on here. Alright, this gets a hell no from me. I do not like tiny things like this. I do not like tiny little mechanisms with tiny little springs that all pop out because they're all being held on by this plate. I'm going to put this back together because I've already broken the record thing. The little spring loads this, and this blocks you from pressing the record button down. But as soon as I took the plate off, the spring unlatched. I have tried for like 10 minutes trying to get that thing in there, realizing that I'm probably not even going to get this working. Why am I trying? So I'm going to put the plate back on before all this explodes in my face, and then maybe take a look at the backside. Maybe there's something at the backside that's causing a problem. Well, the good news is this is unjammed. Turns out I just had to push it a little hard and it worked its way free. Not sure what was going on with that, but while working on it, a little spring-loaded arm here popped out, and I spent 20 minutes putting that back together. I didn't bother with the record tab arm because I do not know where the spring goes. Here's the spring. I don't exactly know how it lines up, but however it lines up, it's probably going to be a pain in the butt. Here's where I'm at. See, we got the battery light, so I've got power. If I press play, oh, play is pressed. The amplifier turns on, but there's no motor. So, and there's no sound of a motor. The pause button was on. I was looking at all these switches and I was like, what's this on off again? I'm going to check that, and then the motor started, but the belt was literally stuck to the flywheel. So I got a screwdriver in, you can kind of see here, and gave that a little spin. Focus on that. There we go. And yeah, let's see what she does. 100%. Great success. Oh. Left channel. At any rate, I'm assuming that's going to be the belt. The belt looks like shit. It's very hard to tell in this harsh lighting in here. Well, if you ever needed any proof that it was the belt, look at this. Yeah. I have belts that will work on this. That is not a problem. I just need to find the best way to get in here. Okay. Let's get some focus going here. So, new belt is in place. I think it's a nice fit. Old belt just broke, basically. These belts are not the right size. And now I just have to put all this back together, and let's see what difference that made. Okay, we're back together with the capstan belt replaced. Let's see if that makes a difference. Well, that seems slow. Oof. Seems a little slow. What about... Yeah, still needs some work, but that belt did make a difference. Here's the problem. These eBay belts suck. And from belt to belt, it seems to make a difference. So, I don't know if I want to dig in to replace the other belt in there. I might just give everything a clean and a lubrication. Well, I think this one's a little bittersweet. Got it all back together. If anyone ever takes one of these apart and you want to put the board back in, these little switches here, these four will kind of pop out. There's a little latch in behind. You can get a flat blade screwdriver and they'll sort of partially pop out of the case. And these two will pop out completely. That way when you're putting this back together and you're sliding it in so that the controls and the two headphone jacks lock in, then you can align these with whatever position the switch is in and pop them back in. That's makes it a hell of a lot easier to put back together, and it also explains why taking it apart is so difficult. This belt is not great. I went and cleaned everything else. I checked the other belts fine. The one for the idler down here, it just, I've run into this problem with these belts on other stuff. It's just, you know, cheap eBay rubber. You can pick 3 of these and they'll all have varying flutter. So this one, as you can hear, I will say the actual sound quality sounds quite decent. But yeah, that flutter, flutter seems to be getting better. I think it's just the belt. I think this could just use a quality belt, and I have to find out a place to order them, because, like, who knows what size belt this is. I guess I could probably look up the model number and find out. At any rate, though, take a look here. You can see the counter there works. We've got the tone control. What's cool is the mono stereo switch actually switches it to mono on the cassette playback, which is kind of nice. It's not just for FM. Yeah, got the battery light on, and batteries are working now, which is good. I think it was just those ones are toast. Fast forward and rewind, do cue and review too, so I can overall, I think this has cleaned up quite nicely. Put on the radio.
For instance, is Pablo Neruda's version of Romeo.
Non, c'était la valise ou le sac.
But it is.
Pour avoir plein de questions. Madame, monsieur.
From the penalty of sin.
That. And, well, thank you guys.
King's daughter, the Minotaur's sister, falls in love with him immediately.
FM stereo is very, very sensitive on there. It needs to be very strong, or I guess I could say weak. Let's go to AM. That's really not surprising. AM down here is just awful. Yeah, the last thing I want to test on this, tape selector is metal. I think that's only for recording, but let's see if it makes a difference on playback. I feel like it sounds better on the normal position, but I think that's only for recording. I think it's just in my head. Speaking of recording, let's test out these microphones. Alright, got a Type 1 Maxell tape in there. Hit record, wait for the leader to come through. There we go. So now I'm recording. I'm recording from far away. I'm recording up close. I'm recording from the right-hand side. And now I'm recording from the left-hand side-ish. Let's see how that sounds. recording far away. I'm recording up close. I'm recording from the right-hand side. And now I'm recording from the left-hand side-ish. Let's see how that sounds. Wow, that's bad. Now the question is that internal noise, say from the motor? Or is that possibly noise from everything in here because it's got a cheap little microphone? Actually, when I record, let me disconnect the speakers and try recording again. So I'll talk up close here without anything plugged in case it was causing a ground loop. Right hand side. And now I'm recording from the left hand side-ish. Let's see how that sounds. Try recording again. So I'll talk up close here without anything plugged in case it was causing a ground loop. Okay, last experiment. I'm going to shut the lights off around here. Actually, I'll just shut everything off. Shut the whole workbench off. This is the last chance for this to sound good. Last chance for recording. I gotta power everything back on so the speakers work. Plug that back in. I'm recording from the left-hand side-ish. Let's see how that sounds. Try recording again. So I'll talk up close here without anything plugged in case it was causing a ground loop. This is the last chance for this to sound good. Last chance for recording. Yeah, so something here was causing noise. It could be this fluorescent lamp. It could be that fluorescent lamp. It could be the speakers. It could be the exhaust fan for the soldering iron that's always going off. It could be anything. But it's not the fault of this. This is just old 80s tech that was not built with the idea that we were going to have all these switching power supplies and modern noise around. I'm guessing this is part of the belt problem, but as it gets towards the end of a tape, the speed slows down, so... And the way it's supposed to sound... Come over here. Way different. Do I have... Oh, Dolby's on. That's why it sounds so muffled. That's way better. But... over here, honestly, it kind of feels like it's getting better. I'm just going to give this some time to work in. I've seen it where these cheap modern belts that come in cheap mechanisms are just garbage when it first gets unpacked, and as they use them, they work their way in. So anyway, this kind of went on a long tangent with this one, but overall, the Panasonic's won. This thing's awesome. And these are both lots of metal. They are probably 20 years apart. Single AA, 4 AA's, and I guarantee this gets better battery life. What do we got here? The Toshiba, well, the Toshiba acted like it was dead, but I'm still going to play around with it a little bit. It might have just been the batteries or the battery compartment. This one, I didn't show the radio working, but the radio does work. The motor's very noisy, so unless I can get the motor being quiet, I'm sure putting a new belt in here would, in best case scenario, probably sound like this one until I find some good belts. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what the point of this video was, but I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these things and looking at the inside of this hefty, beautiful 80s beast. Boy, this video is getting long. Normally on, regular YouTube channels, they'd say, oh, I'm going to split it into a 2-part video. No. So this is going to be a long video if you want to watch it, or for those who listen to it as an ASMR channel. Here's some bonus. You didn't think I'd leave the Toshiba just at that, did you? Look at that motor. Oh my god, that belt is just completely gummed up. It's gross. Okay, motor is cleaned. I've removed this plate that covers the belt drive of the tape mechanism. And in order to do that, I had to take all the screws out, then take this foil off of here. And then the wires were routed along here, so I had to get a screwdriver underneath them and unseat them so I could kind of pull this out from there. This definitely wasn't designed with servicing the belt in mind, but on the flip side, I can kind of understand it because the majority of these, their life, like by the 90s, most of these weren't being used anymore. And even then, the belts were still fine, so here we are, nearly 40 years later, needing to replace the belt. I would say that this is about as easy to service as it needed to be. So I'm going to see if I can find a belt and try and remember how it's supposed to loop around for a dual capstan design. This little bonus thing sucks. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, and I will show you why. First off, I don't really have a belt that is the right length. I either have ones that are too long or too short. But the other problem I'm running into is I believe the way the belt should go, because this is dual capstan, is the belt will go around here and then around this pulley and then go to the motor and then go to the back side of this guy and then around like that, right? Because you want this one spinning the opposite way of this one. Now, there's this, and the belt has to go around that. So I would need to desolder all these wires just for a fucking belt. That's it. I'm out. I can show you that the Toshiba motor works. So it could potentially be repaired, but I'm not going to desolder this just to put a belt that's the wrong size on it. Am I? No, of course I'm not. At least we got to look inside and see how insanely complicated an auto reverse Walkman was from 1983. Okay, bye.